Hello, everyone.
Hi. Hi, Claudio.
Sorry, I'm slightly late.
Hi, everyone.
You are Nilofar. Oh, finally, I connected the face with your name.
Yes, and Mohkol is also here, and Puria is our team. That I'm really glad to meet you here.
So you will present, or?
Perfect. So, Claudio, is it okay to probably check if we can share our screen with you?
Yes, I think you should. Let's see. Try.
Кто это?
Это люди такие.
Как его зовут? Вот это.
Are you trying? Because I cannot see.
Yeah. I still get the same message. The host disable participant screen share.
Okay. Can you try now?
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Okay. Yes. That was a strange setting. Automatic setting.
Just a moment, please.
Okay, we can see perfectly. But I suggested to wait a couple of minutes. Let's people arrive.
Yeah.
So where are you now?
Karaj. Small place very close to Tehran.
Good.
Yeah. Mohkol and Puria is also connecting from Tehran.
At the working area is far from your town?
Oh no, it's not. This is a great question, actually, Claudia, because we are going to explain about why we chose our study area very close to Tehran. Yeah, it's not too far.
Yeah, like tomorrow we'll go. Mine is like it depends from the driver. From 3.5 to 4.5. If he's a good pilot, it's a 3.5. Of course.
Great. So you were saying you're heading there tomorrow?
Yeah. Tomorrow, and then I will come back just for the next webinar. Then I do another couple of things, and then go again. Because this week I will use the most to make interviews and retrieve some few SD, and then come back after a couple of days in Ulaanbaatar. That's good because it's close. So if you really have something maybe comfortable to like that, like in my case, a break into times would be
I understand.
possible. In Delta is impossible because the travel is with the car like 4 days, with the airplane anyways, it's still internal 5 hours.
So what are you doing? What are you doing now? What are you mainly focusing on at the time? So are you camera trapping there or?
Now at the moment I'm still doing camera trapping since 2019. I will be for a long time, even because involving local people, paying them to help to do this work, so it will go. So we can make some multi-year analysis, population trend and everything from multi-year.
Yeah.
And then also now for Pika, I'm doing some interview about the predation of dog, mainly to spot the threats, but mainly focused on dog. And then hopefully next year we will try some collar. The problem is that the true collars that signal reach you even among the rocks, this kind of super technological stuff, each is 2,000 plus. There is a base station, and to give you the base station, they want you to spend 20,000. So goodbye. I have to find another one and try to see how to find a good compromise between the costs and the results. But likely next summer we could, if COVID don't affect us too much, we should start.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's actually affecting so many countries at the time, and it's still not clear that how it could be in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and all the field works actually are depending on so many traveling and
Yeah,
you know,
because-
meeting people. It's just really challenging and difficult.
Yeah, even to receive the color can be difficult. That's the point.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, and so it's like this. But now
But-
Mongolia removed the quarantine. It's good.
Yeah.
How is that? If someone come, must do quarantine or?
Not now. The vaccination rate is growing a bit, and there are less restrictions, less than past few months. But you know, it's still fluctuating, so you really can't get how it's going on.
Okay, I will say at this point we will start. So now Niflar is right. The pronunciation, how to pronounce it? Nilofar. Is it?
Yes, that's
Nilofar?
true.
Okay, Nilofar. We'll present the
Claudio.
I think Julia has a question.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. My question is a simple one. If anyone will benefit from translation into Russian.
Yes, there is one person.
Здравствуйте всем. Кому-нибудь нужно переводить на русский? Скажите, если что, я могу как-то тезисно или через чат, или если вы зададите вопросы, дайте мне знать, пожалуйста. Если нет, ничего, я просто послушаю.
На
Мы
самом
слышали.
деле Хаджимурату нужно переводить.
Если можно,
Ну,
да.
наверное, тезисно можно, да.
Хорошо.
So,
Okay. So
someone
I will
need-
Что можно
try to
кратко
make it
сказать.
concise.
Okay, in that case, Nilofar, you have to stop some time to give the time to translate.
Okay, sure. So
Okay.
as I understood, probably we are going to have a Russian translation
Yes.
simultaneously. Yeah. Okay.
Ibra, do you need the Italian translation? No, it's okay. Nothing. It's joke with a friend. Okay, so
Sorry that I can't tell, but yeah,
we
sure.
are ready. Let's see what happened in Iran.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today to talk about Pallas cat conservation in Iran. At the beginning, oh, sorry.
No. I'll try to make it short, so not to interrupt you too much.
Yes, for the first part, Mahgol is going to introduce you to the first phase of the project and what we have done so far.
Первая часть — это первая стадия проекта и что мы сделали на данный момент.
Okay, as Nilufar said, I'm going to start the first part of our presentation, and then Nilufar will continue the second part. My name is Mahgol Kazari. I'm one of team members of Pallas cat conservation team in Iran, and I'm going to present the first part. First of all, let me introduce the team members. Yasaman Talebi Otaqvar, she has a master degree in environment and also another master in food and resource economics. Nilufar Raisi Chartaqi, MS in conservation science. Azar Sedaqati, she's an environmental trainer and facilitator. Puya Sepahvand, who is a PhD student at environmental science. And I have a master degree in natural resources.
Представила всех участников проекта. Здесь, наверное, особого перевода не требуется, потому что они все прописаны здесь в степени и в чем они специализируются. Thank you.
Okay, next slide, please. Let's get deep in what we have done so far. This phase of our project was mainly focused on understanding the preliminary status of the species in Central Alborz.
В Центральном Абрузе Эльбрусе в основном проводились исследования по первой части проекта, оценка, которая прописана.
Prior to this project, there was no systematic project on Pallas cat in Iran, and our project was the first one on Pallas cat.
Первый такой проект по манулу на территории.
Next slide. Why Central Alborz? Probably you may ask why we choose this region. There was a record of Pallas cat in Alborz Mountain in 2008 in Tehran province. This region is close to Tehran, and we decided to consider this area as our first study area.
Вопрос возникает, почему именно здесь, в Эльбрусе, в горах. Здесь была первый манул, пойман на фотоловушку в 2008 году. Это достаточно близко к Тегерану, и мы решили начать свои исследования здесь.
Okay. Let's look at our study areas.
Наши участки исследования.
As you can see on the map, our study areas are connected to each other.
Участки соединены друг с другом, как вы видите на карте.
As I mentioned, these areas are located in Tehran province, and they are so close to Tehran, so we could investigate the region with less cost.
Из-за близости к Тегерану затраты на исследования не так высоки.
Our three main study areas are Kaveh no hunting area, Kusefid no hunting area, Judge protected area, and Khojir National Park.
Поименованы первые три, собственно, все перечислены, как они прописаны. Часть территорий, в которых не разрешена охота.
Thank you. To understand the status of Pallas
Sorry, I missed the, I don't know whether connection was lost.
Yeah,
I think Nilufar connection is.
Yeah, now we can hear you. You can try.
Okay.
Okay.
To understand the status of Pallas cat inside the area, we decided to combine semi-structured interviews and camera trapping and sign survey, as you can see in this slide.
Методы, которые мы использовали в наших исследованиях, опросы местных жителей, я так понимаю, которые были структурированы частично, не полностью, фотоловушки и обнаружение признаков, наверное, так, жизнедеятельности.
We interviewed rangers, local people, herders, and mountaineers in the villages around the area.
Мы опрашивали местных жителей, инспекторов охраняемых природных территорий, пастухов, всех, кто мог увидеть манулов.
We showed pictures and footage of Pallas cat and its prey to our interviewees and asked them to identify the Pallas cat and asked them to show us the location of their observations on the map.
Мы показывали фотографии манула и основных его видов, на которые он находится, и просили показать на карте, где именно им попадались те или иные особи.
We did this in order to set camera traps in the proper location to increase the capture rate of Pallas cat because we had very limited information about this species in the area.
Поскольку у нас было очень мало информации о распространении манула на этой территории, нам нужно было, основываясь на знаниях местных жителей, на встречах манулов, определить лучшие места установления ловушек. И вот эти опросы нам очень помогли.
Okay. Okay, surprisingly, after more than 700 traps night effort, we only captured Pallas cat in covered no hunting area. The area you can see in light blue in the right side of the map. But it was the first ever record of Pallas cat in this area. You can see our camera trap stations in dark red or brown, and our Pallas cat records in the right side of the map are shown in orange points or dots.
Sorry, did you say that in the right part, so Cavden, no hunting area,
Yeah.
first Pallas cats were
Yes,
discovered?
Yes, we can record the Pallas cat by camera trapping in the blue region in covered no hunting area.
Здесь обозначены места расположения фотоловушек и обработанные результаты. И в части ареала вот с правой стороны манулы были обнаружены впервые.
In the green part of the map, in the left side of the map, there was a green area, Hojir National Park and George Root Protected Area, where the 2008 capture was in that area. But we unfortunately cannot capture the Pallas cat in this area. Also, we put lots of efforts to capture this species in this area.
В левой части карты в национальном парке Хаджир и в заповеднике или в поле охраняемой территории внутри национального парка, где ранее было известно, что манулы встречались, были встречены местными жителями, но, к сожалению, с помощью фотоловушек их обнаружить не удалось.
Thank you. And this photo illustrates the beauty of our study area in covered no hunting area.
Это фотография с территории, которая была справа на карте, там, где существует запрет на охоту, и можете посмотреть, как там красиво.
In the meanwhile, we try to consider the threats of the species using interviews with local people and our observation.
Мы тем временем работали над тем, чтобы определить основные угрозы манулу путем опроса местных жителей и собственных наблюдений.
We find out probably livestock grazing, danger of shepherd dogs, human developments including mining and farming, using pesticides may affect the presence of Pallas cat.
В число основных угрожающих факторов входят собаки, пастушьи, местное строительство и развитие поселков, сельское хозяйство и прочие угрозы, которые существуют на... Что-то пропустила, наверное.
For our outputs, we have lots of Pallas cat records in Covadeno hunting area. I don't know if you can find out the Pallas cat in both pictures.
Видно на том и другом снимке, видно манула, фотографии из территории с правой стороны, если помните карту, территория, на которой существует запрет на охоту.
Next slide. Okay. We also record coexisted species such as stone marten.
Мы зарегистрировали и другие виды, которые сосуществуют с манулом вместе. Подскажите, stone marten — это...
Каменная куница.
Куница. Спасибо.
Also red fox, gray
Красная
wolf,
лисица и волк,
hyena,
гиена,
Persian leopard,
персидский леопард.
and different kinds of rodents as Pallas cat preys.
И несколько видов грызунов.
Thank you. Furthermore, we could record Pallas cat scent marking behavior, as you can see in this video.
На этом небольшом видеоролике можно посмотреть, как особенности поведения манула.
Nilufar, can you please replay the video again?
Просит повторить видеофрагмент.
For me, it has delays. That's okay. Okay. Is it the next slide?
Yes, it is. Can you see that one?
Yes. In addition, we prepared and designed an infographic poster about Pallas cat and other small cats of Iran.
Подготовили вот такой постер с инфографическими данными о мануле и других сопутствующих видах. Каракал и рысь, я вижу, другие мелкие кошки.
And we published and collaborated in publishing papers and reports about Pallas cat records in national and international journals.
Наши исследования суммированы, опубликованы в разных изданиях, в том числе в обзоре по состоянию и охране манула международном.
Thanks to the huge effort of Tehran Provincial Department of Environment and contribution to our work on highlighting the biodiversity of this area, outcomes of the project and the species records in 2019, the covered no hunting area becomes a wildlife refuge.
В результате исследования опубликованных данных фотоловушек и всего проекта в 2019 году статус территории Кавден повысился от простого запрета на охоту до статуса заказника на министерском уровне.
The provincial department used some results of our project, such as camera trapping database. Now Nilufar is going to explain the ongoing project with you. Thank you.
Передает слово дальше. База данных была передана в государственные органы по всех этих снимков, которые были собраны.
Thank you, Uncle and Julia. I was just going to ask, is there any question, or shall we just continue and answer the questions at the end?
Yeah, I think we
Если
can
есть
do it
какие-то вопросы,
then.
задавайте, пожалуйста, сейчас, или мы можем все вопросы вместе задать в конце презентации.
So I suggested to go further with the presentation, then at the end do all the questions.
Продолжаем.
Thank you. So to just continue with the project, I really would like to mention some of the obstacles and challenges we've been facing during the past few years, and how we actually decided to go further in studying Pallas Scads in Iran. In 2018, some of our colleagues got arrested, some of the famous Iranian conservationists and wildlife experts, and this tragic story actually affected so many conservation and environmental projects in Iran. I don't like to go really deep into the details. You can read about this issue and the news around that on the internet, but this affected us a lot. So we have to postpone so many of our projects to a better time, because we couldn't be able to get permissions for doing field work. It was becoming more difficult every day. After that,
Многие, несколько исследователей в природоохране были арестованы, и в тот момент, в 2018 году, было очень трудно получить разрешение на полевые исследования, поэтому нам пришлось отложить. Про эту историю можно отдельно почитать, я рассказывать не буду. Ну вот расскажу, что было дальше.
Thank you, Julia. Soon after that, in early 2019, Iran faced a COVID-19 pandemic as other countries in the world. It affected, again, it restricted us in doing field work, and because of slow vaccination rate and highest daily cases of death and infection, we couldn't be able to continue our field work or doing workshops with rangers and other experts.
К сожалению, из-за ситуации с коронавирусом нам пришлось ограничить, мы не могли выезжать в поля и проводить семинары, поэтому в 2019-2020 году проект затормозился.
It's getting better at the time in terms of vaccination rate, and we are really hoping that we can continue our field work regarding studying Pallas Scads and traveling to the study areas very soon.
В настоящий момент массовая вакцинация продолжается, и мы надеемся, что скоро мы сможем выезжать в места наших исследований, проводить наши мероприятия, продолжать проект.
In addition to all the challenges and obstacles I mentioned earlier, I would like to add the diverse climate and complexity of fieldwork in Iran.
Среди факторов, которые затрудняют наши исследования, климат, который очень сильно варьируется от места к месту, и отсутствие исходных данных во многих местах.
Vast Pallas distribution range alongside with these diverse climate and habitat types makes fieldwork really complex and challenging. So this is why, again, we decided to gather more information on how we need to start and where should we go to study the species before step into complexity of doing field work in different habitats.
Поскольку вот на местности все так довольно сложно и очень сильно варьируется по условиям природным, нам важно было сначала определить стратегию, спланировать все наши действия правильно, перед тем, как выезжать и делать полевые работы.
This is where actually we decided to switch our strategy and activities to something that we have in our hands. So we tried to postpone doing field work in middle of nowhere in Iran and try to focus on what we have from Pallas and what we can get with a very limited and low cost in short term.
Учитывая все перечисленные условия и то, что мы не могли выехать в поле, нам пришлось проанализировать все, что у нас было, уже доступные данные, и что можно было, что мы могли бы с ними сделать. Найти какие-то альтернативные пути обработки информации, возможно, анализа.
The first step was gathering as much as information we can get from about Pallas and actually create a baseline information to understand what should we do in the next steps.
Соответственно, обработка всей информации, которая накопилась на тот момент, и что мы могли бы с ней сделать, и планировать дальнейшие шаги оттуда. И сформировать как бы основу для тех регионов, в которых не было предыдущей информации.
Thanks to financial support of PICA, we could be able to define our new phase of project to actually create or build a network for identifying research and conservation needs for Pallas in its key habitats.
Соответственно, вторая стадия проекта – это установление сети и построение сети. You mean network, people's network, or?
Yes, exactly.
То есть ключевых людей, исследователей для определения самых важных мест обитаний и приоритетов в исследовании и сохранении манула. Проект, эта стадия начинает в Иране. Стадия начинается с прошлого года, началась.
Thank you. Considering the following objectives of the strategic conservation plan of Pallas, we come up with these objectives to understand the distribution range and hotspots of Pallas, to prioritize the areas for doing research and conservation, and trying to develop and launch user-friendly platforms to gather this information from rangers or other enthusiasts and informant people.
Соответственно, вот эти три цели проекта здесь перечислены. И основные усилия направлены на понимание, каков же ареал распространения, какие основные ключевые места для приоритизации природоохранных исследовательских нужд и разработка и запуск платформ для того, чтобы всю информацию о мануле собирать на этой территории и для того, чтобы она была, с ней было возможно работать всем исследователям, чтобы она была доступна.
Yeah, and based on the objectives that you can see and read in this slide, probably you can guess that in this phase of the project, we are mainly focusing on working with people and data collection as much as we can.
В основном мы фокусируемся на работе с людьми и обработке и распространении данных, доступе данных для широкой аудитории.
Based on the defined objectives, we come up to these prioritized activities for our project. So we are focusing on awareness raising with these two different target groups and actually creating a data bank using the records of Pallas cat and other small cats to increase our knowledge and information on these species.
Имея в виду основные целевые аудитории студентов и пользователей социальных сетей, мы создаем банк данных по манулу и другим мелким кошкам.
Regarding public awareness, we first of all, we created an Instagram page trying to connect ourselves, our aims and objectives with a wider range of people, including rangers, wildlife photographers, and any other communities who are interested in knowing more about small cats in Iran.
Мы создали наш аккаунт в Инстаграме, и за 6 месяцев у нас появилось 1400 followers. И общество растет, и мы пытаемся рассказать об этом как можно более широкой аудитории и вовлечь местных жителей разные социальные группы.
And I really would like to mention that why we picked Instagram as a platform to communicate with people.
Почему мы выбрали Инстаграм?
Yeah, it's mainly because Instagram users are more than other social media users like Twitter and Facebook in Iran, and it has so many different features and more rangers that we are actually in our project are using Instagram as a platform to collaborate with each other or sharing what they get and have from biodiversity and wildlife conservation activities inside protected areas.
Большинство исследователей используют Инстаграм, и это, наверное, самая распространенная социальная сеть, у которой очень много разных особенностей и разных возможностей, поэтому мы считаем, что наиболее эффективное продвижение может быть именно через Инстаграм.
our Instagram page is mainly including different categories to producing content on small cats in Iran.
Здесь перечислены категории, я не буду их повторять, которые на страничке в Инстаграме у них созданы не только для манула, для других мелких кошек.
And in each category, we actually focus on different aspects of small cats research and conservation in Iran, and at the same time in the world. For example, in cat world category, we are featuring small cat species from other parts of the world to just show our audience that there are so many different small cat species around the world with probably similar challenges and difficulties in their conservation and maintenance.
Например, в категории кошки кошачьи в мире мы рассказываем о разных видах, у которых, возможно, похожие или другие приоритеты в охране и в изучении, но есть возможность сравнить с манулом.
I can say our favorite category so far is cat watch, because in this category of content, we are receiving small cat, Pallas cat and other small cats records mainly from the rangers in different protected areas in Iran, and trying to put a light on what they are doing in identifying small cats and working on their conservation.
Наша любимая, наверное, категория – это Cat Watch, наблюдение за кошками, в которой собираются данные, присылаются в основном рейнджерами, инспекторами заповедных территорий, которые встречают манула в природе и сообщают нам об этом.
With more than 1,040 followers so far, we can say that we could find so many rangers around Iran who are actually collaborating with us in sharing their knowledge and records of Pallas cat and other small cats. And at the same time, we are trying to help people who are interested in working in small cats monitoring in different parts of the country, to how they can study the small cats, how they can find more about them, and even in some cases we could lead some groups to camera trapping for finding Pallas cat.
У нас больше 1400, почти 1500 последователей, и мы работаем с инспекторами, с теми, кто непосредственно на месте занимается природоохраной, и также с исследователями в масштабах страны, кто хотел бы организовать исследования и наблюдения за манулом.
In this slide, you can see some highlights and features from different categories of our Instagram's content.
Вот здесь разные снимки, фотографии и комментарии на те фотографии, которые мы публикуем, как они выглядят в Инстаграме.
And I really would like to mention that the reason that we are actually highlighting other small cats in Iran as well, it's because it helps us to get more attention, even on small cats conservation and research. Because if you wanted to only focus on Pallas cat, we could probably face very limited information and content and get less attention. This is why we decided to focus on all the small cat species in Iran and trying to talk more about their status and their needs.
Мы решили, что лучше будет на нашей страничке в Инстаграме говорить не только о мануле, но и о других видах кошачьих, мелких кошек, потому что таким образом мы привлечем большую аудиторию.
So the other activity that we mentioned earlier in the objectives was actually trying to make a data bank on Pallas cat distribution and other small cats in Iran.
Другое, еще одно мероприятие в проекте создание банка данных по манулу и другим мелким кошкам, по их распространению. И по всему, вот что здесь перечислено, самой разной информации, которая нами собирается.
We're trying to receive reliable information and records such as roadkill, conflict, human-caused mortalities of small cat species in Iran using different platforms like Department of Environment, Instagram, and other related reliable platforms.
Мы используем разные платформы, социальные сети, как государственное министерство охраны природы, для того, чтобы продвинуть и рассказать о нашей работе.
We're trying to consider this data bank in relation with human and environmental variables to understand more about the status of Pallas cat and other small cats in Iran, and hopefully come up with a better idea about what do they need and what are their research and conservation priorities.
И мы пытаемся связать огромный массив накопленной информации, как-то его проанализировать и классифицировать, чтобы со всеми этими данными можно было работать, и чтобы они были доступны для самых разнообразных пользователей, для широкой аудитории. Также в соотношении, just one more thing, в соотношении, как эти данные увязываются с факторами природной среды и угрозами.
Thank you. During the past few months, we could be able to sign an MOU with the Department of Education and Training in Iran to produce educational videos for the students on Pallas cat and other small cats of Iran.
Не так давно мы подписали меморандум о взаимопонимании с отделом образования, департаментом образования и переквалификации для того, чтобы они нас подрядили на создание видео образовательных по манулу и другим мелким кошкам для студентов.
Because of the COVID pandemic, students and teachers are using online platforms in Iran for schooling. So this is why we actually did this collaboration to provide them with these educational videos, and up to now more than 200 middle school students watched our videos about Pallas cat and other small cats.
Из-за того, что школьники и студенты были на домашнем обучении, больше 2000 посмотрела школьников средней школы, учащихся, так же, как и их родители и учителя. Охват довольно большой.
We are still receiving feedbacks from the students and the experts of the Department of Education and Training, and also their parents, to hopefully have future collaborations on raising awareness on small cats conservation in Iran.
Мы получаем комментарии, обратную связь от школьников, родителей, учителей, и надеемся, что в будущем это поможет нашим исследованиям, что они нам смогут какие-то сообщать данные о распространении манула.
Unfortunately, all the videos are in Farsi with Farsi subtitled, so we decided to not showing the videos, but you can see just a frame of the videos. It's focusing on Pallas cat and other small cats of Iran.
Вот так эти видеосюжеты выглядят. Мы их не будем показывать, потому что они на персидском. Ну, видно, что они не только про манула, и про других кошек тоже.
So one of the other objectives that we were trying to focus during our project was actually producing content for rangers on small cats. This is why we collaborated with Fars Provincial Department of Environment in content production for small cats. And yeah, Julia.
Мы сотрудничаем с сетью инспекторов и активистов через наше присутствие в Инстаграме. И как-то вместе с ними мы делаем такое, как называется по-русски, письмо довольно регулярное, да, в котором собираются все данные, рассылка, да, собираются все данные о мануле и других мелких кошках. И это все делается в сотрудничестве с Департаментом природной среды.
Yeah, because of the network of rangers that we could actually make through Instagram, we are able to facilitate content production between the community of rangers and this seasonal e-letter, which is producing by Fars Department of Environment.
Мы вместе с Департаментом природной среды работаем над этой сезонной рассылкой.
Thank you. And one of the main targets of our project, it's still in progress. We are trying to prioritize the areas for research and conservation of Pallas cat. That we are actually going to identify these specific areas using our data bank of Pallas cat records and other related variables.
Используя данные в этой большой базе данных, которую мы собрали, мы ищем наиболее важные территории, участки для исследования и охраны манула, те, которые наиболее важны.
This slide is actually showing our future objects and activities. We are trying to hold some online interactive workshops. Because of Corona, we are not able to travel a lot and having so many meetings in person. So we decided to use user-friendly platforms like Instagram, that so many rangers are using that in Iran to hold these online workshops on how they can study and research Pallas cat and other small cats inside their areas.
В наших планах продолжение интерактивных семинаров с использованием Инстаграма среди природоохранных активистов и инспекторов и других заинтересованных лиц.
We are continuing data collection on Pallas cat and other small cats, and we are hoping to provide you all a report on prioritized areas for research and conservation of Pallas cat in near future.
Мы будем продолжать сбор данных для того, чтобы сформировать самый основной слой информации, необходимый для дальнейших исследований.
And thank you so much for listening.
И большое спасибо.
Thank you, Nilofar. If someone have any question, any of the team can answer. First, I'm curious about one thing. You have done leopard, Panthera pardus there. So do you have any, if not analysis, at least a perception about the co-occurrence between the leopard and Pallas cat, if it is positive or negative? For instance, from data from camera traps.
That's an interesting question, Claudia. Actually, we captured Persian leopards very close to this camera stations. We got Pallas cat, but so far during doing field work inside those areas, we didn't have any sign of encounter between the species.
Очень интересный вопрос о взаимодействии леопарда и манула. И на одной из фотоловушек был зарегистрирован леопард, но данных о том, как они взаимодействуют, у нас пока нет.
Claudio stole me part of the question, but I just we know about the problem with the dogs and the cats, and I would like to know if you have sort of maybe not data, or you imagine about the co-occurrence with the hyena and the Pallas cats, because I think maybe it could be a predator of the Pallas, probably.
Yeah, it could be Ibra. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Ibra, it could be, but as I mentioned, we couldn't actually get any, reliable sign or information on that. But regarding feral dogs or shepherd dogs, something which is interesting, which was interesting for us, is that back to 2008, there was evidence and camera trap footage of Pallas cat in Khojir National Park. But when we started, we had the exact location of that capture, and we tried to camera trap so many different locations and stations next to that specific camera trap point. But because of livestock pressure and the presence of so many shepherd dogs, as you see that we got them with our camera traps, we couldn't be able to capture any Pallas cat photo in that specific area.
Вопрос был про взаимодействие с гиенами, с пастушими и с одичавшими собаками. И ответ, что да, нам бы очень хотелось получить эти данные, но их не так много. А в одном месте, где мы точно знали, были данные о наличии манула, но настолько много было собак, что на фотокамере манула нет совсем.
Some other question?
Yes, I have two questions. Well, first is, how long time did you deploy the camera trap in the field? And second is there any information or so far about the population number in your country?
Yeah. So at the beginning of the project, we had very, very limited information and data on Pallas cat in the study areas. So at the beginning, as Mahgul mentioned, we informant local people and the rangers inside the protected areas, different footages of Pallas cat and other small cats, and ask them to show us if they observed or spotted any of these species, especially Pallas cat. And we asked them to show the location of the observation. So we use this data and information to hopefully go to the better places to set up the camera traps. And then after that, we did a science survey during the winter. It wasn't really helpful because of because of the limited snowfall in that area. And then after that, to raise the rate of Pallas Scads capture, sometimes we use traps like chicken or fish oil. But even in this case, we couldn't get Pallas Scads footage in 2 of our study sites.
Вопрос был о том, как они определяют места, где расположить фотоловушки. И ответ прозвучал, что изначально информации не было, где. Потом на основе опроса работы с местными жителями мы определили приблизительные места. И в некоторых местах мы даже попытались с помощью приманок как-то привлечь, усилить шансы, рыба, другое мясо. И, к сожалению, это не сыграло в пользу, то есть манула там в этих местах не было.
And regarding your second question about population estimation, unfortunately, we couldn't do that because of very low capture rate. It probably, I don't know very exactly, but it seems that there's a less density of Pallas Scads in those regions. Or maybe we need to increase our effort to, I don't know, a very high trap night to be able to get more capture, to do any population estimation.
Второй вопрос был об оценке размера популяции. И здесь очень трудно какие-то даже приблизительные данные получить, потому что очень низкий уровень отлова. И, наверное, нам нужно повышать, как это называется, фотоловушка, число фотоловушка ночей, чтобы получить данные надежные, более надежные, и на их основе сделать какие-то выводы.
Other questions?
Можно мне вопрос задать?
Я попробую перевести.
Это у меня такой вопрос. На территории распространения манула они фиксировали ли какие-то другие виды мелких кошек?
How about with your photo traps? Have you registered other small cats, other species?
And no other small cats at all during our camera trapping effort. We got other predators and carnivores, but no other small cats.
За время работы фотоловушек других мелких кошек не было зарегистрировано. Хищники, да, и другие существующие виды, но не кошки.
Спасибо.
You're welcome.
Seems another question. However, I have a note about my and Ibra question. I think that's something we need to be clarified to understand everywhere, because I have the perception that apex predator somehow can affect the meso predator and favorite the small one. So I have some good data about wolf, because that's actually disappearing in my study area for across the year, except when there is the rutting period of the deer and also the gazelle group during end of September, October. And then in that case, we have from 0 to 5 capture of wolf in the camera in 3 months in a season. In that time, we have like 40 captures, something like that. to increase the gun law. And from some preliminary descriptive analysis, my perception is that actually the behavior of fox changed, red fox, while Pallas cat is maybe get some benefit. That's can be actually interesting to clarify. Yeah, and as well as the presence of livestock and the human, maybe within a certain threshold, can even, except for the shepherd dog, can even help the Pallas cat. So that's all points I think with the time we can clarify.
Yeah, exactly. As you mentioned, there are so many different environmental variables who could probably affect the presence of Pallas cat as a small predator, like Persian leopard, wolf, red fox. And it's also interesting that to understand how feral dogs, or I would like to say shepherd dogs, to understand the impact of shepherd dogs or livestock grazing, as you actually mentioned, truly we need to probably visit or monitor the study sites in different reasons, because in so many protected areas in Iran, they have seasonal movements, shepherds, I mean. So there are seasons that livestock are inside a protected area, and then after that they move out. So if we want to understand if they have any impact or effect on a species like Pallas cat, we need to consider these in different seasons.
Yeah, and by the way, do you have sorry, do you have any feral dog in that area is spread, or just a shepherd dog are free ranging?
No, unfortunately, there are also feral dogs in, I can say, in all the study sites, because there are so many villages and small towns very close to these protected areas. This is why you can see, and because of you know, so many garbage and leftovers around the villages, you can see so many feral dogs inside these protected areas, which are attacking wildlife in different.
Okay, then there is a Tanya raised the hand. We can do your question.
Thank you. Hi, Nilufar. Thank you so much for the beautiful presentation. I have a general question. Are you aware of any demand for Pallas cats pelts and some, you know, killing of the Pallas cats for that?
Вопрос. Есть ли какой-то спрос на кошачьи шкурки в стране?
During the first phase of our project, when we were doing our field work, we actually encountered some signs inside that area, but it was really difficult to determine or identify that. And because at that time we couldn't be able even do a genetic study to probably understand if they belong to Pallas cat or other cat or carnivore species. But we actually collected some pellets from Pallas cat, but we haven't done any work on that. At least we are thinking they belong to Pallas cat, because some of them were really close to the camera traps that we got Pallas cat at that time.
В процессе наших полевых работ мы собрали некоторое количество шкурок, но не обо всех мы, не про все мы уверены, что они принадлежат манулу.
So also Shirin has a question.
Hello to everybody. Unfortunately, connection was failed. I tried for about 1 hour and I miss all presentations. Thank you. I just listened the end of presentation from Nilofar. And I would like, maybe it's not the question, but recommendation and for the colleagues from Iran to participate at our next online meeting, which will be held in next week on 29th of October. And my colleague Haji Murad from, he is now online with us, and Aknabat from Protected Area, which is border with Iran. This is a central Kopidak and southwestern Kopidak mountain. And we also have fixed the camera traps on the way in on the protected areas in the Zaказnik, Zapovednik, and they were provided by Tatiana. Hi, Tatiana. Sorry, I missed you at the beginning. Hi, Tanya. And this project was supported by Tatiana on Leopard project. And thanks for this camera trap, we have a lot of images and video, including photo images with the Pallas cat. So, and as well as leopard and other wildlife. And we would like to, my colleague Aknabat from Central Kopidak protected areas, unfortunately, she could not join due to this internet connection. She also asked to welcome all the reporter of this meeting and invite, we would like to maybe, if you will join for our meeting next week, just to discuss issues regarding this transboundary, transboundary cases where Manul was identified on the camera trap. It's on the border with Turkmenistan and Iran. It's very interesting for our colleague from protected areas. So just invite, if it's possible, of course, for the next week meeting, because we will discuss, and they prepare the presentation. It's now in Russian, and I will follow with the translation into English, and hope for deep negotiation and discussion during our meeting next week. Thank you for your presentation, and thanks for all who participated. Unfortunately, I mixed all this 1 hour presentation. We will try to fix internet connection to be able to participate at the next hour meeting on Pallas cat. Thank you, Nilafar.
Thank you so much, Irene, for inviting, and sorry that you missed the first part of the presentation. Hope to see you next week.
Yes, so Shirin, before me, said that on 29 will be the next webinar dedicated to Central Area. So I will do the Zoom events, and then, of course, each of you can participate. So if there is no...
Tanya, I just wanted to make sure that I got Tanya's question right, and I answered it.
Tanya?
Yes, yes, perfect. Yes, thank you.
And I'm sorry, I forgot to translate myself to Haji Murad. Haji Murad, извиняюсь, мы пригласили наших коллег Нилофар и других коллег из Ирана, чтобы они участвовали на нашей встрече, которая будет на следующей неделе, 29 октября. Вот. И я также, кратко буквально, то, что у меня вопросов не было, потому что я не смогла прослушать из-за интернета, то, что не было связи хорошей. Акнабат тоже пожелала, чтобы наши иранские коллеги, мы могли бы обсудить на той встрече и обсудить именно трансграничные вопросы. И просто интересно, да, я все пропустила, к сожалению. Возможно, Хаджи Мурад, ты зафиксировал все, что было нашими коллегами из Ирана сказано. И это будет нам интересно в дальнейшем для работы, потому что у нас только проект по манула начинается в Туркменистане. И
будет запись, доступна будет запись.
Okay.
Recording will be available.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Юля. Спасибо большое и за перевод, и за информацию. Спасибо. И поэтому, Хаджимурат, если у тебя есть какие-то вопросы, ты можешь задавать. Просто я все, как говорится, упустила, к сожалению. Окей, спасибо. Тогда надеемся, что иранские коллеги будут с нами на следующей неделе. Спасибо. Татьяна, извини, пожалуйста, я тебя прервала. Таня, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Oh, no, what you didn't.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Hoja Murad.
Yes, and today is the birthday of our colleague Hajumarat, and
Birthday?
we would like to wish him birthday. Yes, wish him good health and all the best. He is our colleague working in protected area over 25 years. We know each other, and thanks for this Leopard project. We have more close friendship with him. And from all our group, from colleagues, we would like to congratulate him. И от всех нас, друзей, коллег, Хаджимурат, поздравляем тебя еще раз с днем рождения. Надеемся...
Спасибо большое.
Да, окей.
Спасибо.
Это подарок тебе, да, на день рождения. Это встреча по манулу сегодня. И наш первый проектная встреча.
Спасибо.
Spasiba. If there is no last question, we are a bit out of the time. So thank you very much, Nilofer and Magol, and then see you next week on 29. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you, bye-bye, everybody. Hope to see, yes, hope to see you next week.
See you next week. Thank you, Shin. Bye.
Try to, yes, connect by video. Yes, I'm here now, finally.
Okay.
Hope to fix everything by next week. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, Magol.
Bye.